Hey everybody, Billboard chart guy. Happy to have one of my favorites in the Miniverse, in my opinion, a Mount Rushmore third chair, Ted Sellers. Ted, thank you for joining the show.
Wow, Mount Rushmore. That was big
Yeah,
praise. I appreciate it, Billboard Chart Guy. And thank you
yeah,
for the invite to come on.
it's my pleasure. Yeah, I mean, if I'm gonna go there, it's putting obviously Mike aside. It's you, it's Mike Montante, it's Polar, and that fourth slot is open a bit. So I still got to think about that a little bit. But you're
Mud not
definitely,
on there for you?
you know what, Mutt and I are in a long-standing feud.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, yeah, he didn't like some of my tweets, and then he blocked me, and so listen. Hopefully someday we'll get over it, but for now, it's one of my only feuds in the Miniverse. I think it's a one-way feud, by the way. I don't think he cares very much.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Mutt doesn't strike me as a guy that thinks about the show like that at night.
No, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. Um, well, listen again. I appreciate you jumping on. Let's jump in and I want to start as I do on most of these episodes. Talk to me about your musical history. What you were listening to as a kid, and some of your early favorites.
Yeah, so I was born in 1990.
Okay.
So 90s music was obviously when I was like elementary school age. What I was into, I really liked, like those bands like Matchbox 20, whatever was on the radio. Embarrassingly, I think I played One Week by Bare Naked Ladies and All Star by Smash Mouth on repeat until the disc burnt out or whatever. The actual
Right.
first CD I ever got was Len Can't Stop the Bum Rush.
Wait a minute.
I don't,
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Len.
Len. They had a song called "Don't Steal My Sunshine" that was like really
Yes.
big on '90s
Yeah.
MTV,
I remember that
and
song.
yeah, and I loved that song. And I had a family friend that we used to have like a joint, Christmas party with every year. And she was probably like 19, 20, and I was maybe like 7 or 8. And she got me that CD, and I'll never forget my parents being like, "What CD did you buy, my child?" Because it said "Can't Stop the Bum Rush." But that was like, early childhood kind of music that I was into. I wouldn't really consider myself like an actual music fan, even though I was always listening to it because like my parents would listen to it.
Hmm.
Until about seventh grade when I really got into like Nirvana and grunge music in general. And it just kind of like flipped a switch in my brain that I was like, these guys are awesome. I started looking, I ordered these on old school eBay, like bootleg Nirvana DVDs that people just recorded, either concert footage or the MTV Unplugged, and then like not very well burned them onto a DVD, and I would make my dad like buy them on eBay for me. So that's when I really got into like music in general.
Um, well, that's very cool. And seventh grade usually is the time it kind of kicks in. Sure, sixth, seventh grade. So I gotta take a step back though because you're a '90s child. So, a couple of questions that come to mind: Backstreet Boys or NSYNC,
Uh, uh, I
or
liked
neither?
it.
You could say neither.
I like NSYNC more, if I'm gonna be honest.
Okay.
I think their hits are better. Backstreet Boys, I get why they were the more popular overall, but I think NSYNC had the better music. I was always a
Right.
JT guy.
Yeah. Yeah. He's the bonus there, right? That
I,
he
I
came out
will
of that group.
say that Sphere footage, some of the stuff I've seen for the Backstreet Boys, I think there's an argument that just seeing any musical act in the Sphere, if they do it right, is probably pretty awesome.
It looks amazing, right? I saw the opening of them coming out. It looked incredible. Yeah.
Like,
Um,
what a genius thing Vegas did with that. I mean, the whole thing is just a very like Vegas type experience. I really want to see Dead and Company, but I have not yet.
Yeah, my wife and I were considering that for my 60th, which was in April, and we just couldn't pull the trigger with the cost of the tickets and the
Yeah.
whole weekend and whatnot. But they're very, yeah, but I don't think the Spears for every band, right? I don't know if Bruce would translate.
Yeah, he doesn't rely on a lot of like video type stuff like that.
Absolutely, yeah. His stage is pretty flat and um so yeah, so obviously musically he would, but just kind of visually, he's not an artist who has used a lot of that
I think
in
if
the
he were
past.
to, yeah, I think if he were to do it, it would have to be similar to like, I don't know, not like his Broadway show, but it would be like a show, like not so much just like a straight up concert with the visuals like a lot of people have been doing. I
Right.
think you would have like a lot of like spliced in things and he would like tell stories.
Yeah. Um, okay, so one more 90s question, then we'll move on. So Brittany or Christina?
So, when I was in fourth grade, we did like a show and tell thing. Got in my Christina Aguilera CD that had the
Okay.
hits like Genie in a Bottle and Come On Over Baby. So I
Okay.
was definitely a Christina guy when I was, younger.
Okay. Well, that's that's usually kind of, and I think I asked Melissa Gorman at one point, was she more Madonna or Cyndi Lauper? So your
Yeah.
generation was Britney or Christina. So
Yeah, I mean,
very
Britney clearly won the game in the long run. I mean, she had the longevity and the hits and everything like that. But at the time, I'd be lying if I wasn't a Christina guy.
right. And you have to wonder if she's truly won because some of the videos I see on Twitter
Oh yeah,
are a little bizarre for sure.
yeah. I don't know if
So
one's the
when
right word.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So when you made that transition in seventh grade and discovered Nirvana and grunge, who else? I mean, did you jump on to like Pearl Jam or what were some of the other bands as you were kind of maturing in seventh, eighth grade? That you
Yeah,
were listening to music?
Pearl Jam was definitely also a big one. I actually saw them in 2018 in Chicago at Wrigley Field, which was really cool. And like Alice in Chains, um, pretty much any grunge band at the time. I also got into some like heavy metal music. I liked Metallica. I liked System of a Down, but I also really liked rap. So when I was in middle school and even somewhat elementary school, Eminem was big for me. But I also, liked Biggie. I liked Tupac, 50 Cent when he came out. I really loved his album. So I kind of was all over the place as far as like musical stuff went. Even classic rock, because my dad was obviously everything was Bruce Springsteen,
Right.
Rolling Stones, bands like that. So I kind of, got lucky that I had a lot of music in my life from all different genres that would help me like kind of round out, later on in life what I like to listen to.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That Pearl Jam show at Wrigley must have been incredible. He's from Chicago, right? Vetter.
So yeah, so I believe, and if somebody's a bigger Eddie Vedder historian than me, I could be wrong, but I believe he lived there briefly early on in his childhood before he moved.
Okay,
But because of his dad, who he didn't obviously have the best relationship with, and then he passed away, but his dad was a big Cubs fan, and I think that's like his way of hanging on to that.
got it.
And he stayed with the Cubs regardless of where he moved to. And then when they became famous, he really like kind of became like an ambassador basically for the Cubs as well. So every
Yeah,
time they do baseball stadiums, it's always you got to do two nights at Wrigley at least.
yep, yep. And they were in the news recently as their drummer just left the band. I don't know if you saw that,
Yeah,
Matt
I'm
Cameron.
still a little confused about what actually went down. They obviously both parties did the mutual parting ways thing, and we wish each other all the best and thanks for the memories. But it takes a lot for a guy just to up and leave a juggernaut like a Pearl Jam. I mean, anytime you want to go on tour and make a bunch of money, you can do that with that kind of a name and band. So clearly, either creative differences, or there's a rumor that like the Foo Fighters might be interested in adding him, but
Oh,
nothing's clear as of right now.
yeah. Yeah, I was stunned by that. He's been with them for so long, um, that it
Yeah,
was a little
98,
surprising.
I believe.
90, yeah, yeah.
I think that was his first.
It was the Dave and then Jack Irons did an album or a tour, and then it's been Matt Cameron ever since.
Yep.
So it'll be
Yes.
interesting to see where they go moving forward. So seventh, eighth grade. Let's go right back and talk to me about what albums were you buying? I know what your first album was. What was the first album that you went into a store and said, "Hey, I need this"?
It was definitely Nirvana. Nevermind
Yeah, it's a
was the
great
big
one.
one,
Yeah,
and just every song on it is a hit in a way. And then I went and I bought like the Kurt Cobain biographies, the journals. They came out with all these different box sets around like late middle school, early high school. The With the Lights Out box set came out, and I just had to get like everything that was Nirvana. One of my uncles gave me the entire like discography of all the other albums I didn't have at the time. But then I'm
nice.
also buying like 50 Cent Get Rich or Die Trying, and
Right.
things like that. So I was a little like all over the place as far as music goes. I liked Blink 182 a lot,
You and
and bands
Justin,
like
right?
that. Yeah, yeah. So me and Justin on our 6 a.m. car rides into the studio definitely talk a little Blink 182 era type music as well. But I kind of miss like buying CDs like that. I love the convenience, obviously, like anybody would, of going on Spotify on a Friday and you can just listen to whatever album drop that you were looking forward to.
Right.
So, but there's something about going into an actual store and buying like a CD,
Right.
um, that like I
Yeah.
just kind of miss, and then like having it organized, whether it's alphabetically or genre, and like a thing next to your TV, and they look cool. You get to read the lyrics. Like I always
Oh,
loved when bands put lyrics in the actual booklet that came in it, but you don't get that anymore.
no, I know that was a um, a highlight of any new release, right? Getting the artwork, seeing
Yes.
if there were lyrics in there, just kind of taking it home and enjoying it, and it's funny. I don't know how many times in my years I went and resorted the albums alphabetically, like you said, genre, just constantly. I wouldn't clean the rest of the apartment or my room, but I had
Right.
those were in pristine shape for sure. um,
I don't
what
know
was
if
the
you.
yeah?
Sorry, I didn't mean to like
No,
mess
no,
up
go
the flow of the next question. But
go
while
ahead.
we're on the streaming subject, I will say a positive that at least in the last like 5 to 6 years that I've had like Spotify Premium that I do like is that I've been able to just discover even bands that I obviously knew of my entire life, but never really went and like just listened to their discography. And like
Mhm.
now I could do that, which I do like, versus having to like spend money on a $12 CD or whatever,
Sure,
which like I might not do just to find out if I like the rest of the album. But now like
right.
I'll kill an hour and I'll listen to it. So I've been like super into like the Beatles and the Grateful Dead, and now my favorite band of all time is Pink Floyd, and that would not have happened if like I had to go and actually physically buy 14 Pink Floyd albums.
Right. Yeah, that is absolutely a feature. And I was going to ask you who you're listening to based on that, and you just said it. Pink Floyd, I've never gotten into, and maybe I should give it a try. Where would you recommend that I start to give, to
Um,
kind of get? Is it one of the big albums? Is it Dark Side of the Moon, or is there something else
yeah,
that you would
I
suggest?
mean, if you don't like one of the big four, as I call them, because you got Dark Side, um, like in order of their biggest albums, I believe it goes Dark Side, it goes Animals, Wish You Were Here and The Wall, like chronologically. I believe that's the flow of it.
Hmm.
Wish You Were Here is my favorite Pink Floyd album of all time. It's only 5 songs, but it's almost an hour, and it's just start to finish. I can't imagine doing the production on that album, just based on the different sounds and like chord progressions they do. It's absolutely like a masterpiece in my opinion. But Dark Side of the Moon is probably their most accessible album, where like just song for song, like it's great start to finish. There's nothing that's like 14 minutes long on it, so
Right.
I guess it just
Right.
all depends on like what you're in the mood to listen for.
Hmm.
You're never gonna leave a Pink Floyd album like completely happy, I would say. You know what I mean? Just because the themes they talk about are, you know, war and, you know, the economy and things like that. But any of those 4 albums, I would definitely recommend, to start with, start to finish, and then start getting into like they have like 8 albums before, you know, Dark Side of the Moon even came out. You know, so there's
Yeah.
tons of stuff that they did when they were just like over in England before they actually, you know, made it big with Dark Side.
Yeah, they go back to like 66 or 67, I believe.
Yeah, it's like the
Uh,
one band I can think of that they somewhat got a little famous with an original lead singer, and then when he lost his mind and went crazy, the band took off. You know, like, and he wrote
right.
all the songs on the first album. So,
Hmm.
like, Roger Waters wasn't writing the songs, David Gilmour wasn't even in the band, and then they added him because Sid Barrett like can't keep up with the tour schedule and was losing his mind because of LSD addiction. And then when David Gilmour was in full time and they kicked Sid Barrett out, they took off.
Hmm. Um, all right. That'll be my project for the weekend. I will listen with To Dark Side of the Moon. I think I'll start there. I'll
All
give it a
right, let me know what you
shot.
think.
I definitely will. I definitely will. What was your first concert?
It was actually ludicrous.
Okay.
Um, I
Where
didn't
was
go
that?
to. It was actually at college. I went to Quinnipiac, and they did a fall concert every year. And he was our fall concert. And up until then, I had never been to. You know, I'd seen like some bands, like my uncle's band. You know, but like I had never been to like an actual venue that this was a concert I bought tickets for. And
Right.
so Ludacris was my first one, and then from there I just like every year, like, you know, I try to get to as many shows as I can that, you know, work and money and everything like that will allow. But yeah, Ludacris is the first one.
All right. And what's your most recent concert?
Most recent concert, trying to think.
You saw Bruce with your dad
I
on the
think it was
last tour.
Bruce. Yeah, no, it was
Yeah.
Bruce in September last year, in Baltimore. So I have not been to one since. I went to a couple concerts that year, but so far this year, I have not been to one. But I do have Goo Goo Dolls coming up in July,
Okay.
um, a week from Tuesday. They're playing Leader Bank Pavilion, so I like that venue.
Okay. What town is that in?
It's Boston at the Seaport.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
like right. It's a venue like right near the water. It's a really nice area.
Oh,
Good
nice.
show. I saw John Fogerty there a couple of years ago. I really like the venue though. Very, you know, wheelchair accessible and everything, which is good.
Yeah. How was Fogerty?
Oh, Fogerty was awesome. I mean, he played every song you'd want to hear.
Yeah.
They had these like hippie dancers all throughout the crowd. He told a couple Woodstock stories because it was kind of like a 50th Woodstock anniversary show.
Hmm.
So he played a lot of what they played at Woodstock, and, you know, every other hit you'd want to hear from John Fogerty after he told his stories and everything like that. Which it was a really well done show.
Nice. Nice. I've only seen him um, in 2004. There was that Vote for Change tour
Yeah,
that Bruce was part of, and I saw Fogerty come out. I was in Philly, and then we flew to Cleveland the next night, and yeah, unfortunately, those are the only times I've come across him live, which is a shame.
I
And
I
go ahead.
I was just saying I love that like genre of music too. Like you got like CCR. I love Leonard Skinner. The Allman Brothers Band.
Yeah, I love it.
Um,
Love it.
they
Yeah.
just put on great shows.
Did you ever see the Almonds?
I did not, unfortunately, and I saw Leonard Skinner, where they basically were a Leonard Skinner cover band by that point.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I mean, like they still, it's still fun to listen to that music live and everything like
Oh,
that. They
totally.
still
Those
put on a
songs.
great show.
Yeah, those are such fun songs. The Skinner stuff. I saw the Almonds on one of their runs. They used to play at the Beacon Theater in New York City, and just incredible night. Um, really, really good. Glad I got to see them.
Yeah,
Um,
jealous.
yeah, lucky, very lucky. So wrapping up concert, give me your all time favorite or your most memorable show.
All-time favorites. That September Bruce concert was really good. I heard "Racing in the Street" finally,
Oh, it's
and
perfection.
yeah, it's just like it was a very like kind of emotional concert for him too. I liked everything that was a part of that set list, so that's definitely up there. I have a favorite band called the Gaslight Anthem. They
Yeah,
actually are like somewhat friendly with Bruce.
yes,
They've Bruce has played with them a couple times just for some of their songs, but there was one show that they did in Boston. I want to say it was like 2018, and it was the same week that I saw Pearl Jam in Chicago. And they basically kept doing like a last song, and then like just kept going into like more and more like classic songs from their discography, and not even ones that like they normally would play. So
right.
hearing some deep cuts like that and them playing until like midnight in Boston was pretty awesome.
No,
And then
that's
3 days
great.
later, I followed it up with Pearl Jam in Chicago. So just that week in my mind just always sticks out to me as a whole.
Yeah, the Gaslight Anthem. Yeah, I know Bruce is a big fan of them, and obviously they love him. Um, and, uh, and I've mentioned this band on this show, but the Hold Steady, who I love, and is
Yeah,
probably my favorite band of this century. They're kind of adjacent with the Gaslight Anthem, and Brian Fallon and Craig Finn, the lead singer of the Hold Steady, have gone on. They've done solo tours together. Very cool.
yeah. I think they played together at I want to say it was either the Paradise in Boston. Um,
That sounds right.
yeah, because Brian came out with his like Painkillers album. I want to say like 5 or 6 years ago, and he did like a solo tour with him.
Yeah, yeah. That's I got to check them out. I've never seen them, so I need to check them out.
Fun
Um,
show.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So let me switch gears on you a little bit because I know you have a big day coming up. You and the
Yes.
future Mrs. Sellers.
Yes.
Um, so I have a couple of musical questions around your wedding, if I may.
Absolutely.
Okay. So DJ or band? What
We
are we
went
going with?
DJ. All right.
Okay. Okay.
Instinctually, I started with band, but DJ definitely won out. Big factor, you pay for one plate of food versus like five or six for a band.
Right.
If anybody wants to request a song, it's very easy to do that, and you can get all sorts of genres of music. A part of
Yes.
me is always a little nostalgic for the idea of a wedding band, but
Yeah.
DJ was definitely more feasible.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're married 26 years now, and we went DJ as well. Um, and I was in charge of picking out the DJ, and I that was my thing I had to do.
That was
So
your pet project.
that was my pet project. That's all I was allowed to do. But
Yeah, yeah.
you understand what I'm saying. But
Absolutely.
so have you given the DJ any instructions about types of songs, or are you letting them kind of do their thing?
We have like a working like Google Doc that we're just adding as we go that the DJ is on. That
Okay.
has like must plays, can play, and then we have a few like do not play.
Okay, so give me
Uh,
a couple of the do not plays.
well, a do not play for me would be like Monet Monet by
O-
Billy Idol.
Okay.
I hate the Summer of '69 by Bryan Adams. I don't know
Okay.
what it is, but both of those songs just drive me absolutely crazy.
Okay.
Those are two that just come to mind right off the bat because those are the first two that I came up with the idea for the Do Not playlist.
Good. I don't remember a lot of it, but I know that two in particular. I did not allow the chicken dance at my
Okay,
wedding.
yeah, I
Okay.
probably that's making the list now. That's a good
Okay.
idea.
And I did not allow the Macarena.
Okay,
And I think I also said no Bon Jovi. So
well, that's fair too.
so I'm glad you have this list, and if you want other suggestions, I could DM you some more.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All suggestions of Do Not Play are welcome. I'm just trying to
Okay.
think of like what song is everybody gonna be dancing to that I'm like, no, I can't do it. I'm gonna go to the
R-
bathroom.
Right, right. And then what what song will be your first dance?
So I'm actually going to keep that, kind of private because I have a unique idea that none of my family members know or
Okay.
anything for what we're doing during that.
Okay.
So that's something that only me and Mrs. Ted are aware of right now. But I'll
Well,
mention like how it went down like afterwards
yeah,
and
yeah, I'd
stuff
love
like
to
that.
hear that.
Like
That's
I'm sure I'll
interesting.
be on the show or something after recapping the wedding. So
Yeah. Okay. And are you still there are still no Minifans coming to the wedding. Is that a fair statement?
yeah, as of now, I mean, there are a couple
Okay.
people that have listened to Kurt's
Right.
show or whatever, but no noticeable
No
Minifans that you would.
notable. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. All right. And I'd be remiss if I let you go without asking if you had any gigs coming up. What's
Uh,
going on?
yeah. So right now, I don't currently have any stand-up shows lined up. It's a big vacation time for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So breweries that I normally do it at aren't really like doing shows currently. But once the fall hits, I'll probably start, throwing my name back out there. And I usually run like my own show
Yep.
that I did a couple months ago.
Yep.
And we'll do that again once it kind of gets cooler outside and people want to actually go out, instead of enjoying the nice weather outside.
Terrific. All right. Well, listen, that I wanted to make sure I touched upon the wedding stuff. Congratulations. I hope you have a wonderful time. And just it goes by in the blink of an eye. So try to enjoy the day as much as you can. And I want to thank you for doing the show. Much appreciated. And like I said, I'm a big fan of yours. So this was a real thrill to chat with you.
Thank you for having me on, Billboard Chart Guy. I appreciate it. Love the show. Thank you.
Thank you. And thanks to everybody for listening. And we'll be talking to you soon. Have a great day.